Hello folks, this is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball, the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers for the drawing on June 27th, 2018. If you like to play my game, Decoding the Powerball, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. I have 7 strategies with my game, Decoding the Powerball. So strategy number 1, the game card color code. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to demonstrate on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This is a format that I came up with that represents the 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize with the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage, and the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 16, 29, 43, 45, and 56. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning Powerball numbers and I put it at the top of this list, and then I'll take the last 3 drawings of numbers and I'll transfer these numbers over to the game card as red numbers. And then I'll do the same thing with the orange area, the green area, the blue, and the purple. I have 5 different colors, one to represent each one of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so how this works is, again, I took 69 white ball numbers, I divided it among 5 colors, which equals 13.8. Okay, so my goal is to have either 13 or 14 numbers per color. Okay, so for this drawing, I have 13 red numbers, 15 orange, 15 green, 11 blue, and 15 purple. And the number of colors change with every single drawing. Okay, so over here to the right, there's 239. This tells me how many color code drawings I kept track of so far. And again, these are the color code drawings, okay? So out of this 239 drawings, 123 drawings have come up a 3-color combination. 85 drawings have come up a 4-color combination. 23 drawings have come up a 2-color combination. And only 9 times out of 239 drawings have all 5 colors come up together. And never has it been just 1 color. Okay, so this number right here, right in the middle, this number 4, this tells me how many colors just came up in the last drawing. So you can see that there was 1 orange, 1 blue, 1 purple, and 2 red for 4 colors total. Okay, so how I use this game is I try to correctly guess what number will be coming up next. Okay, so more than half the time, it does come up a 3-color combination. Okay, so the overall strategy, though, is to eliminate numbers. Okay, so again, there's 69 white ball numbers. Only 5 numbers can come up as winners. So that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. Okay, so for me, I just think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. Okay, so to help me out with that, I'm going to turn to how all 5 colors hardly ever come up together, okay? So the strategy is try to correctly guess what color won't be coming up and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so for this drawing here, I'm going to guess that no purple numbers will be coming up. Okay, so the reason why I'm going to pick this, and the thing about this game is we're all going to look at this a little bit differently. Okay, so again, I see it as no purple numbers will be coming up. And the reason why I'm picking this is because a purple number has come up in the last 9 drawings here. Okay, so I just think that is due to miss. Okay. So as I go down with all these purple numbers, you can see that this line right here has no purple numbers to it. Okay, so that's what I think is going to happen. All right, so I'm going to eliminate all these purple numbers here off of the game card. Okay, so to speed things up, I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far with no purple numbers to it. Okay, so when I block out a number like this, This means that I'm not even going to consider this number when I'm picking what I think would be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm spending $3 on a Powerball ticket, which includes the power play. Okay, so in other words, I'm betting $3 that none of these purple numbers will come up in the next drawing. Okay, so if I'm correct with my bet and none of these purple numbers come up, then I'm one step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 2, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers, okay? And how this works is up at the very top is the master for each individual number, okay? And over here to the right are the numbers that just came up in the drawing. Again, it was the 16, 29, 43, 45, and 56. So that turns out to be a 4-group combination, okay? So I'm going to reduce this down so you can see what I'm talking about here. Okay, and what you're going to see is I divided the 69 numbers into 7 groups, okay? So group number 1 holds the numbers of 1 through 9. And then the next group has 10 numbers, 10 through 19. And then it's the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Okay, so this first group has 9 numbers, and the other 6 groups have 10 numbers to it. Okay, so there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? And there's 7 groups here. So 2 of these groups will not be able to have a winning Powerball number to it, okay? So the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so how I use this game is this big square right here. This is good for 5 drawings, okay? And I like to break it down into 5 for a couple reasons. One is when I go into the history of things, it's easier to count, going 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on, okay? But my theory is that if there's a lot of hits within these 5 drawings here for this certain group of numbers, then maybe there won't be so many hits in the next 5 drawings, or vice versa. Okay, so again, the overall strategy is to eliminate numbers. Okay, so I look at this, and we're all going to look at this differently. Okay, so I look at it and I say, I don't think any 50 numbers will be coming up. Okay, and the reason why is because there's already 5 hits within these 5 drawings here. And the average is either 3 or 4, somewhere around there. So this is already above average. So I'm just going to guess that this top line here won't have any hits to it in the 50s here. Okay, so again, my pick is that no 50 numbers will be coming up. So I'm going to eliminate the 50 numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm going to blow this back up. Now, if you want to get my game here, there's a couple ways that you can use this. So I use it to eliminate numbers, but you could use it to pick numbers, okay? So you can see that there's only 1 hit in this 30, so maybe you might look at it and say, well, I think there's going to be another hit here in the 30, so I may want to consider a 30 number, okay? So another way that you could use this is you could just highlight one number. Okay, like the 46 here, and you can go down and see what colors have come up and not come up. Okay, so when the 46 gets in that certain color code number, that certain color, like maybe orange or whatever, you can say, well, it hasn't been orange in a long time. Maybe I'll consider the 46 because it's orange. Okay, so another way that you can use this is try to correctly guess how many groups will be coming up. Okay, so most of the time it's either a 3 or 4, okay? When you look through here, you can see that there's a bunch of 4s here. When you look through here, you can see a bunch of 3s, okay? A 5 comes up here and there, okay? And every once in a great while, a 2 will come up. I'll show you a 2, okay? So you can see that it was a 22 and 23, which is in the 20 groups. And the 62, 63, and 66 are in the 60 group. So That's only 2 groups, and that comes up like every once in a blue moon. Okay, so most of the time it's either a 3 or 4 group. Okay, so you can use that to try to correctly guess how many groups is going to come up. Okay, so you want your winning Powerball numbers to reflect that. Okay, so I'm off to back to the game card here. So I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far, with no purple numbers from the color code and now no 50 numbers from the individual numbers. Okay, so if I'm correct with these 2 guesses here, these 2 bets, and none of these blocked out numbers come up, then the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these colored numbers still left on the game card. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy, and that's strategy number 3, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so these are my group 1 numbers that you're looking at here, okay? And what I did is I took all the numbers and I divided it into 4 different groups, and I put colors to these groups, okay? So when the 5 white winning Powerball numbers come up, I record where they land within these groups down here in the stats, okay? So this red area is for the red area right here, okay? So I'm going to go back to the Powerball homepage, and the 5 white winning numbers that came up were the 16, 29, 43, 45, and 56. Okay, so as I go back here, you can see the 16 is in blue, the 29 is in blue, the 43 is in orange, the 45 is in green, and the 56 is in green. Okay, so you can see that down here in the blue. Again, there's a 2 here for the 1629. There's 1 in the red for the orange for the 43, and there's 2 in the green for the 45 and 56. Okay, so you can see that there's a 0 in the red area, which means that no winning Powerball numbers landed in that red area. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess where these zeros are going to pop up. Okay, so if I could have correctly guessed that none of these red numbers are going to come up in the last drawing, I could have eliminated all these numbers and really gave myself a much better chance at picking the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so how this works is I came up with 15 of these option cards. Okay, and the reason why I did that is I want as many options as I can to pick these zeros. Okay, so I made them all the same colors, red, blue, orange, green. So you can see that you can see the red area here stands for this group of numbers, and over here in option card number 2, you can see what red numbers are there. Okay, and in option card number 3, they're a little bit different, but the same colors, red, blue, orange, green. Okay, so as I keep on going down, you can see how I mix things up. Okay, so again, all I'm doing here is creating groups of numbers and trying to correctly guess whether they're going to come up in the drawing or not come up. Okay, so again, I think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up. So that's what I'm looking for. Okay, numbers that won't be coming up. So I have a group 1 overview right here. Okay, and how this works is I have divided things into certain groups here. Okay, so if there's 5 or more zeros, okay, like this 0 right here, okay, if there's 5 or more of those within all 15 option cards, I color this blue for cold. Okay, if there's less than 5, then I color it red for hot. Okay, just to give me some separation. Okay, so the strategy is with this is if I can correctly guess where a blue mark is going to come up, then that means that there's going to be at least 5 option cards here with a 0 to it. Okay, so I'm going to show you on this red one. Okay, so there was 5 zeros there. Okay, so as I head down through, you can see here's 1 0. Here's 2 zeros. Here's 3 zeros. Here's 4 zeros. And here's 5 zeros. Okay, so again, the strategy is to correctly guess where these zeros are going to come up. So the group 1 overview kind of gives me kind of a hint. Okay, so again, if I think that a lot of blue areas are going to miss among these 15 option cards, then that's what I'm going to look for. Okay, so for this pick here, I'm going to go with option card number 2, no red numbers. Okay, so the reason why I'm picking this one, and again, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently, okay? But as I head down through, you can see that these zeros, they double up, sometimes even triple up, okay? So as I head down through, here's one that had 4 zeros to it. Okay, so as I keep on going down, here's one with 3 over here. Here's another one with 3, okay? So the thing is this one over here, the red, it's never had 3 zeros in a row, okay? So where most of these other columns have multiple times where 3 zeros have come up, again, this one has never had 3 in a row here, okay? So I just think that it's due to happen. And I'm going to eliminate all these red numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'll go back to the game card here. I'm going to scroll to the right. And you can see that all these red numbers are gone now. Okay, so you can see that there's 5 numbers over here to the left side. And as I go back to group 1, you can see that there's no numbers over here to the left side. Okay, so what I did here is I have these numbers off here to the left shared a square with one of these other numbers. Okay, so this 8 shares the square with the 66, the 19 with the 67. Okay, so what this is again, since I'm getting rid of this orange, this red area right here, okay, the 25 shares the square with the 65, and the 58 shares the square with the 68, okay? So you just have to look at this as a group of numbers, okay? So I'm eliminating this red area, which includes the 25 and the 58, along with all these other numbers as well, as a group, okay? So the reason why I have these numbers off here to the left, and not like crammed in, not like this 19 crammed in with the 67, is because of the color code. Okay, so you can see that the 19 is green and the 67 is blue, so I need some separation. But if I get rid of this one square, then I'm going to get rid of the 19 and the 67 as a group. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. All right, so I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 2 numbers. Okay, so much like group 1, where I divided things into 4 different groups, here I divided things into 8 different groups. Okay, so again, there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So I know that 3 of these color groups will not be able to have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these color groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it, and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so maybe you heard the saying divide and conquer. Okay, so this is what I'm doing here with the Powerball. I'm dividing it up and looking at different angles. Okay, so this is just another way of looking at groups of numbers. All right, so how I use this is, I'm going to blow this up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to look at these red numbers here. Okay, so down here in the stats for the red, you can see that it's 0 right here. It means that none of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers landed in that red area. And here, this 2, that of course, that means that 2 out of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers landed in that red area. Okay, so what I do is I divide it into 5 drawings. Okay, so this is 5 drawings right here. And the reason why I do that is because it will show me a majority. Okay, so you can see that there's 3 zeros here, so the majority is misses. Okay, there's 3 out of the 5 were misses, so the majority is misses. So I colored the background blue for cold. Okay, here the next one, you can see that there was 3 hits, so the majority is hits, so I colored the background red for hot. Okay, so as I go down through, this was the first one, okay, and now I'm working my way down to the current drawing, okay. So because the lottery is so random, I know that nothing can stay cold forever, and I know that nothing can stay hot forever, okay. So as I go down through, if I see something that's really hot, well, eventually I know it's going to turn cold. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen, okay. So that's the same thing with the, you know, if I see a big thing that's cold, well, eventually I know it's going to be hot, okay? So this kind of helps me try to predict where these zeros are going to pop up, okay? So again, the overall strategy is to eliminate numbers, okay? So I have 15 of these option cards as well, okay? So how this works down here is I'm going to go back up, and the numbers that came up were the 16, that was in yellow, the 29 in purple, the 43 was in orange, the 45 was in purple, and the 56 was in yellow. Okay, so I have 1 orange, 2 purple, okay, and 2 yellow. So as I head down through, you can see that there was 1 orange. Okay, so we go back up here. I want to show you the colors here. So again, I have 15 option cards, and they all look the same as far as the colors: red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow, and they're all in this order. Okay, so I'll show you option card number 2. Again, you can see it's red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. You can see that the numbers are a little bit different here. Okay, so I'm going to go down, and the orange is right here. So you can see that the last one was a 1, okay, and that represents that 43. And then over here in the purple, you can see that 2. That represents the 29 and 45. And then here in the yellow, you can see the 2, which represents the 16 and 56. Okay, so you can see the other numbers have zeros to it. Okay, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm trying to guess where these zeros are going to pop up. Okay, so if you look over here, you can see that there's a 3 here. Okay, and that tells me how many color groups were hit. All right, and since the 3 is green, that means the majority of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers were over here to the right side. Okay, so if the majority came over here to the left side, I color it red. Okay, so this number right here, this tells me how many red marks came up. Okay, so you can see that 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so why I have these yellow things is because you can see that it's right on the, it's even. Okay, 2 zeros, 2 hits. Okay, so it kind of, I do this to help it make it stand out. Okay, so now with this next drawing coming up, this is either going to be blue or red. Okay, there's only 2 options here, right? So you try to correctly guess what it's going to be. All right, so for me, I don't feel comfortable picking at this one. All right, even though I know that out of this option card there's going to be 3 misses, I'm just looking for ones that I feel comfortable with. Okay, so I'm going to pick at number 4, no yellow numbers. Okay, so here's the stats for the yellow. And as I head down through, you can see that things got really, really hot. Okay. And now I think they're going to start to cool off. So I think there's going to be a 0 right here. And if there's a 0 there, then that means that none of these yellow numbers will be coming up as a group. Okay. So I don't think any of these yellow numbers are going to come up. So I want to get rid of them. And I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so let me just reduce this down. Okay, so I'm going to scroll over to the right. And you can read underneath Group 2, option card number 4, no yellow numbers. Okay, so as I go back to the old one, you can see that the 27, 28, 61, 62, and 64 were all here in the yellow. And now those are all gone. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Group 2 and I'm going to make a bunch of picks here. Okay, because I know that 3 out of these 8 color groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so this gives me a really big advantage here. Okay, most of the time it's even 4. Okay, it's like half and half. Half of these color groups will have a hit to it, half of them will have a miss to it. Okay, so my next one is option card number 5, no green numbers. So here's the stats for the green, and as I head down through, you can see that things are like 50-50. Then they kind of heated up a little bit, and now since this has the last 4 drawings as a hit, I just think that it's going to be a 0 for this 5th one here. Okay, so I think there's going to be a 0 there, which means I don't believe that any of these green numbers will be coming up. So I want to get rid of them as a group, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. Okay, so you can see that all these green numbers are gone now. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Group 2. And my next pick is going to be option card number 9, no blue numbers. Okay, so here's option card number 9. Here's the stats for the blue. So as I head down through, I just have a feeling that this is going to go on a cold streak here, okay, like over here. So I think that this is going to be a 0 right here. And again, folks, this is the thing. We're all going to look at this different, okay? So you may look at this and say, wow, this is pretty hot here. I'm going to go with this one, you know? But for me, I just think it's going to be the blue here, okay? So I'm going to get rid of the blue numbers. And that's the 2, 27, 16, 21. Okay, they're all mixed up. But this is the blue group. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. Okay, you can read underneath, whoops, I'm supposed to say Group 2 here. Okay, Group 2, option card number 9, no blue numbers. And you can see that 16, 21 is gone. Okay, and the other was the 227. All right, so I'm going to go back for 4 more picks here. Okay, so these are the ones that I felt comfortable picking at. So the next one is option card number 10, no yellow numbers. Okay, so here's the stats for the yellow. I'm going to head down through, and you can see that thing started off pretty hot. And now it has a pretty long red streak here, so this has hit 7 drawings in a row. So I just think that is due to miss. So I think there's going to be a 0 right here. So again, if there is a 0, then that means that none of these yellow numbers will be coming up, hopefully, because I'm going to get rid of them. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the game card. And I'm going to scroll down. And you can read underneath Group 2, option card number 10, no yellow numbers. Okay, so I got rid of those yellow numbers, and you can see that I'm weeding down the numbers here. Okay, if I'm correct with all my picks so far, then none of these blocked out numbers will come up. So that will mean that the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, the correct 5 white winning Powerball numbers, have to be still left on the board here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 2, and my next pick is option card number 11, no red numbers. Okay, so here's the red, and as I head down through, you can see that things got pretty hot right there, and then it went on a cold streak, and now it's gone a little hot streak here, and I just think that it's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so again, I don't think any of these red numbers are going to come up, so I want to get rid of them. Okay, so you can see that 6 and 14 here, so I'm going to scroll to the left, and you can read underneath group 2 option card number 11, no red numbers, and you can see that those numbers are gone now. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 2 for 2 more picks, and my next one is option card number 12, no blue numbers. Okay, so here's the stats for the blue, and as I head down through, you can see that things got kind of hot there. Okay, kind of 50-50, and I just think that there's going to be a 0 here. Okay, there's really no rhyme or reason. I know that there's going to be, on average, 4 zeros, 4 hits. I don't know, you just take a guess, you know? That's why I call it the guessing game. Okay, so again, I don't think any of these blue numbers are going to come up, so I want to get rid of them, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the left, and you can read underneath option card number 12, no blue numbers. Okay, so I'm going to go back for one last pick. And again, I have 15 option cards, and I'm going to go with option card 15, no red numbers. So here's the red. As I head down through, you can see that things were like 50-50, but then they got pretty hot right there. And now it's on a wicked hot streak, so I just think that it's due to turn cold, and I think there's going to be a 0 right here, okay? Which means that I don't believe that any of these red numbers will be coming up in the drawing, so I want to get rid of them. Okay, so as I go back to the game card, I'm going to get rid of them through the game card, and that's it. Okay, so I took 69 white ball numbers, okay, and I reduced all the numbers that I feel comfortable reducing, okay. So again, I started off with 69, and now I got 4, and 1 is 5, and 4 more is 9, 10, 13. So I'm down to 13 numbers here. Okay, so I did this a couple years ago where I reduced it down to 10 numbers, and the 5 white winning Powerball numbers landed within these numbers still left on the game card here. Okay, so I only got 2 correct that day. All right, so I came up with something new, and that was called the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks. Okay, so again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so there has to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. Okay, so I like to keep track of that and try to correctly guess what the majority will be for the upcoming drawing. Okay, so how this works is this 284. This tells me how many drawings I kept track of, and this goes back to October 7th, 2015. This is when the Powerball lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers, okay? So out of this 284 drawings, 144 drawings have been the majority of odd numbers. 140 drawings have been the majority of even numbers. Okay, so how I do this is, again, I like to break things down into 5 so I can see the majority. Okay, so here, in this 5 drawings, you can see that the majority was odd numbers, 3 drawings to 2. And as I go down through, I like to go down and just kind of work my way up. I see that was odds, evens, evens, odds, 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 evens, odds,
Evens, odds. So what do you think the next one is going to be? Well, it's already odds, okay? So now is it going to be 3 drawings to 2, okay, which comes up the most right here, all right? Or is it going to be 4 to 1, which happens as well, okay? So for me, usually most of the time it comes up 3 to 2, okay? So my guess is that there's going to be more even numbers than odd numbers, okay? So when I'm picking what I think will be the 5-way winning Powerball numbers, I want at least 3 of those numbers to be even numbers, okay? So as I head over to the next one is high and low, so all the numbers in the red are considered high numbers. All the ones in the blue are considered low. Okay, so with this one, the majority has been 140 drawings to the high side and 144 to the low side. Okay, so for me, I think it's going to be 3 to 2 again, so I think that more numbers, at least 3 numbers, will be to the low area. Okay, and the next one I have is left and right. So all the numbers that are red are considered the left side and the blue the right side. Okay, so here I think it's going to be 3 to 2 again, so I think that more numbers will be over here to the left side than the right side. Okay, and one last thing that I have for the 50-50 is this blue and red area here. Okay, so you can see that the red area is way ahead of the blue, 164 to 120. And here, red has 3 hits. So again, most of the time it's 3 to 2. So I'm gonna guess that more blue numbers are gonna come up than red. Okay. So one last thing is I do have something for the Powerball itself, the red ball. Okay. So if you don't know how the Powerball works, again, there's 69 white ball numbers. And 5 numbers come up out of those 69, and then there's 26 red ball numbers. Okay, so as I go back, I divided things into 2 different columns. Okay, so here in this column, if you see a blue number, that means it's low, 1 to 13. So what I did is I took the 26 numbers and divided it into 2. Okay, so 1 to 13 is low, and those are blue numbers. If you see a red number, that means it's high, 14 to 26. Okay, so over in this column, if you see a red number, then that means it's odds. And if you see a blue number, then that means it's evens. Okay, so the reason why I do that is because I like to look at the colors. Okay, and when I see like a long streak right here of red, well, I know eventually it's going to be blue. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. Okay, so this green area means that the Powerball repeated itself. So you can see that it came up 14 and then it repeated itself and was 14 again. Okay, so you can look at this and go down through and see which ones have repeated and all this other stuff and see where they came up. Okay, so for this drawing here, I think the Powerball number will be a high odd number. Okay, so I think that there's going to go on a little red streak right here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the game card, and I'm going to scroll down. And you can read underneath 50-50 picks. I think that there's going to be more even numbers than odd. I think there'll be more to the low side than the high side. I think the majority will be to the left side than the right side. And I think the majority will be to the blue area and not the red. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy, and that's strategy number 6, picking the numbers I hope will hit from group 2. Okay, so again, I have 15 of these option cards. Okay, and they all kind of look the same as far as the colors: red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is that there's 15 red areas, 15 blue, 15 orange. Okay, so much like the group 1 overview, I have a group 2 overview as well. Okay, so I'm going to go to that right now. And keep that in here, okay? Just because when I add a new line, It just makes sense to have it in here. Okay, so this is what the Group 2 overview looks like. Okay, so I'm going to point out this red area in the last drawing. The 15 option cards, there was 7 hits. Okay, the hits are on the left side. The misses are on the right side. Okay, so the magic number here is 8. Okay, so if there's 8 misses here, like this one, then the majority is misses. Okay, so when that happens, I color the background blue for cold. Okay, so if there's 8 or more hits, then the majority is hits, so I color the background red for hot. Okay, so this is another way that I could just look at this and look at the colors. Okay, so when I see a long streak of red here, well, eventually I know it's going to turn blue. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. Okay, so for this drawing here, I think there's going to be lots of hits in the orange area. Okay, so I think that this is going to be red. And I think there's going to be lots of hits in the brown area as well. Okay, so that's what I'm going to concentrate on. So as I go back to the game card here, I'm going to scroll to the right. And sorry, I was supposed to say lots of. Okay, lots of hits among the orange and brown areas of Group 2. Okay, so this represents option card number 1. Okay, so as I go back to Group 2, option card number 1 in the orange area runs down from the 3 to the 59. And the brown runs from the 6 to the 62. So you can see in the 3, it's the 11. And this shares the square, 19 and 67. So I have those right here at option card number 1 here. Okay. So over here in the brown, it runs from the 6 down to the 62. You can see that the 22 and 46 are on here. So I wrote that down here. Okay. So I did that with all 15 option cards. And you can see that there's plenty of numbers here. Okay. So I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 7, picking my numbers. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. And the numbers that I'm going to go with for this drawing, and again, we're all going to look at this differently, so we're all going to come up with different results. Okay, but for me, the numbers that I'm going to play are the 4, 22, 31, 44, and 67. Okay, so with this combination of numbers, this will give me 9 hits, 6 misses in the orange area, and 9 hits, 6 misses in the brown area. Okay, so as I go back to the Group 2 overview here, again here in the orange, I think there will be 9 hits, 6 misses, and since it's more than 8 hits, then color it red. Just to give you a visual on things. Okay, so as I go back to the game card, again, this orange area represents 15 option cards. So here's 1 hit, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so you can see the ones that aren't highlighted are misses, okay? So there's 6 misses among here. All right, so that's how I use this game. And again, the numbers that I'm going to go with are the 4, 22, 31, 44, and 67. Okay, so with the 50-50 picks, again, I thought there was going to be more even numbers than odd. So you can see that the 4, 22, and 44 are more, did that the majority of evens. I thought the majority will be to the low side, so the 4, 22, and 31 will give me the majority to the low side. I thought more numbers will be to the left, so the 4, 44, and 67 are all over here to the left side, so that will give me the majority. and I thought the majority will be to the blue area. So the 22, 31, and 44 will give me that majority to the blue area. Okay, so that's how I came up with these numbers, and that's how I use my game. All right, so again, if you want to use my game, if you're interested in playing my game, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. And again, that's just decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Okay, so I charge $10 a month, okay, to update everything. Okay, and I'll send you the link of my Google Sheets here. All right, and all payments are made through PayPal. Okay, so I appreciate your thinking about this, your consideration, and that's about it. So I appreciate you watching. All right, if you like the content of this channel, then please subscribe. And as always, I just want to wish you the best of luck with your picks.